And SEBI on Wednesday passed an interim order against former INDUSIND Bank MD and CEO SUMANT KATHPALIA and Deputy CEO over alleged insider trading allegations, restraining them from accessing the securities market. The market regulator found that they traded during the existence of sensitive information on unpublished price. Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved hike in minimum support price for 25-26 KHARIF season and extended the interest subvention scheme for farmers amid concerns of excessive rainfall coming monsoon. And India's industrial production growth slowed to 2.7% in April of 2025 due to poor performance of manufacturing, mining and power sectors, according to official data. And Indigo will become the first airline to commence operation from NAVI Mumbai airport, developed by billionaire Gautam Adani. The airline will operate 18 departures to over 15 cities from day one. Indigo also announces appointment of Bikram Singh Mehta as its new chairman. IBM has reportedly laid off around 8,000 employees, with majority of job losses concentrated in the Human Resources Department. The move comes as a part of a broader effort by the US-based tech giant to integrate AI or artificial intelligence into its operations, particularly in back-office functions. And India has recorded over 1,000 active cases of Covid-19 since early May. The rise comes amid detection of the two new subvariants, the NB 1.8.1 and LF7, which are currently under observation by the global health authorities. And in a major move, the US federal court has now blocked President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs in a blow to his key economic policies. The Court of International Trade ruled that emergency law evoked by White House does not give the president unilateral authority to impose tariffs, and in fact the US Constitution gives Congress the exclusive power to regulate commerce. And Elon Musk on Wednesday night announced that he will be stepping down from his role as a top US advisor to Donald Trump, concluding his tenure as a special government employee tasked with leading a high-profile push to streamline federal bureaucracy and federal funding through DOGE. And our top story at this hour: in a major clean chit, the Lokpal of India has dismissed all complaints filed against former SEBI chairperson Madhabi Puri Buch, linking to allegations arising from the Hindenburg Researchers report from 10th of August 2024. The anti-corruption watchdog said that there was no credible evidence to warrant a probe. The detailed order, passed by a 6-member bench led by Justice A.M. Khanvilkar, said that the allegations were based purely on presumptions and assumptions and lacked any verifiable material to trigger action under the Prevention of Corruption Act. The complaints contended on allegations of quid pro quo arrangements involving 4 companies, which include Mahindra & Mahindra, Blackstone, Wockhardt and ICICI Bank, apart from the Adani Group. Among 3 complaints was one filed by Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra, who claimed that Buch's actions posed a potential threat to national interest. But the Lokpal found nothing to back the charges, including that the claims that Buch and her husband had invested heavily in a fund linked to the Adani Group. The order clarified that these were merely passive investors, and they were passive investors earning just about 3.9% annualized returns, comparable to the benchmark bond indices in India. On the other allegations, including the consultancy linked to Mahindra & Mahindra and Blackstone and rental income linked to Wockhardt, the Lokpal said that there was no connection between the timelines of these transactions and SEBI's decisions on Adani. It also rejected charges of Buch going soft on ICICI Bank, calling these claims unsubstantiated. Notably, the Lokpal also took strong exception to the public disclosure of Buch's income tax record, calling it an invasion of privacy, and granted her the liberty to pursue legal remedies. And in a major regulatory crackdown, the SEBI has now barred former INDUSIND Bank CEO SUMANT KATHPALIA and 4 senior officials from participating in the securities market. The market watchdog alleges that the individuals traded shares while in possession of unpublished price-sensitive information linked to account discrepancies in banks' derivative trades. The other executives named in SEBI's interim order include former Deputy CEO Arun Khurana, Head of Treasury Sushant Saurav, GMG Operations Head Rohan Jathanna and Consumer Banking's Chief Administrative Officer Anil Marko. All 5 have been prohibited from buying, selling or dealing in any securities until further notice. Now, SEBI's preliminary findings reveal that the executives were aware of the massive derivatives gap as early as December of 2023. And internal estimates placed impact at over 2,300 crore rupees, with external reviews by firms like KPMG and PwC initiated in early 2024. Now, despite knowing the gravity of the situation, some of the accused offloaded their shares ahead of the official disclosure, prompting SEBI to step in. Notably, both KATHPALIA and Khurana resigned last month, citing moral responsibility. The controversy deepened further after analysts questioned the bank's silence on the issue during its third quarter results, to which the management claimed no updates were available at the time. Now, SEBI launched its own investigation on 10th of March and has now clarified that its inquiry remains open. And in a major move to strengthen India's agriculture sector, the Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved higher minimum support price or MSP for at least 14 KHARIF crops and extended a crucial interest subsidy scheme for farmers. The biggest hike is for tur, with MSP now raised to 450 rupees for 8,000 rupees per quintal. So for 8,000 rupees per quintal, the raise in MSP for tur is now at about 450 rupees. Other staples like paddy, moong, urad and cotton also saw a major increase ranging from 1% to nearly 14%. Notably, ragi and niger seed received some of the highest percentages and absolute hikes respectively. Now, Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan emphasized that all MSPs have been raised to at least 1.5 times the average production cost, marking a key step towards empowering farmers and boosting their income. The announcement comes amid an ongoing political focus on farmer welfare, with assembly elections due later this year and next year in key states like Bihar, which Prime Minister Modi is set to visit soon. Now, remember, MSP remains a central issue in India's farm sector, especially after the controversial farm laws and widespread protest in recent years. The government continues to address farmer demands, with committees and commissions recommending improvement to MSP policies. And time now for a very short break. We'll be back in just a bit. You're watching Morning Brief at 9.
Mummy says no Anda in summer.
क्यों? तू समर में खेलता नहीं क्या? समर में एनर्जी नहीं लगती क्या? ज्यादा लगती है।
अंडा तो हर सीजन में सुपर हिट है।
सुपरस्टार है ये। सर्दी हो या गर्मी, संडे हो या मंडे,
रोज खाओ अंडे।
News never lies.
But on the twisting highways of headlines, every turn brings a new story.
So buckle up for Pune Highway.
Because the story is going to twist at every turn.
डेड बॉडी कभी झूठ नहीं बोलती.
You will need News9 to stay with the truth.
Watch News9.
English news as it should be.
And don't miss our film Pune Highway. In theaters.
23rd May.
Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers, the Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwalas.
Is life transactional by any chance?
Of course. Everything in the creation affects everything else.
You are not only an actor, you are an activist.
Through my cinema, I've tried to always project what I really felt.
You tried to make women look beautiful for themselves.
The message to women was, let the spotlight of your life be on you.
You are fiercely competitive in nature, but you come across as a typical good boy that every mother would like to have.
But it doesn't mean you're not raging inside. Or equally euphoric.
You have donned many hats, but who is Kiran Rao?
I am a speck and I am not even a blink in time.
From being somebody to becoming nobody is the first step in enlightenment. Even now, I don't think of myself as a brand.
You still move ahead with your beliefs.
Winning the game is what's going to make this decision right.
It's a kind of a barometer that you have internally.
It was lovely talking to Barun.
It was great fun, and I think you'll find it fun to watch. I found the discussion very thought-provoking.
As befits such a conversation, one goes back with more questions and answers.
He gave me a formula which I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, which is something that you'll have to watch the show for.
Watch Radico Presents Duologue with Barundas Season 3 at these times on News9. News9 English News as it should be.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Brief at 9. India's industrial growth slowed to 2.7% in the month of April, down from a revised 3.9% in March, according to data released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation as of Wednesday. Manufacturing, the largest component of industrial output, saw a modest improvement, rising from 3.4% in April compared to 3% in previous months. So 3.4% in April compared to 3%. That's the rise in manufacturing. However, electricity generation took a sharp hit, dropping to 1.1% from 6.3% in March. Mining activity also slipped, contracted to 0.2% after 0.4% expansion last month. Now, consumer durables, including cars, phones, showed strong growth at 6.4%, while consumer non-durables like food and toiletries declined by 1.7%, showing softer demand for essential goods. Overall, the index of industrial production recorded a 5.2% increase for the month of April of 2024. In fact, 25, reflecting mixed trends across the sectors in country's industrial field. And moving on, Indigo is set to become the first airline to operate from the brand new NAVI Mumbai International Airport, a major infrastructure project developed by billionaire Gautam Adani. Starting operations with 18 daily departures to over 15 cities, the airline will run 36 air traffic movements from day one. The number is expected to grow rapidly, reaching 79 daily departures by November this year, including 14 international flights, and further expanding to over 100 daily departures by March of 2026. By November of 2026, Indigo plans to scale up to 140 daily departures, with 30 of these being international, marking a major expansion in connectivity from Navi Mumbai. This new partnership between Indigo and Adani Airport Holdings Limited, the largest operator of public-private partnership airports in India, aims to boost the country's aviation sector and accelerate India's journey towards becoming the world's third largest aviation economy by 2030. The Navi Mumbai International Airport itself is a landmark development. The $2.1 billion airport features a unique lotus-shaped terminal design inspired by India's national flower, with an initial annual passenger capacity of 20 million estimated. Plans are already in place to expand this capacity to handle up to 90 million passengers over the next decade. Now, this new airport is not only set to reduce congestion at the existing Mumbai airport, but also aims to develop an aero city around it, which will generate revenue from non-aviation sources. Now, both airports in Mumbai are managed by Adani Group, further strengthening its position in the country's aviation infrastructure. Domestic operations at Navi Mumbai International Airport are expected to begin soon, with international flights planned to start as early as August. This development promises to elevate travel experience for millions of people, offering affordable, on-time and hassle-free services, while significantly enhancing India's connectivity on both domestic and global fronts. And meanwhile, staying on with Indigo, the aviation giant has also announced that it has appointed Vikram Singh Mehta as the new chairman of its board. Mehta will be succeeding Venkatramani Sumantran, who stepped down from the post after the end of his 5-year term as a board member. Now, Vikram Singh Mehta was previously the chairman of Shell Group of Companies in India and the chief executive officer of Shell Market and Shell Chemicals in Egypt. He has been a member of the Interglobe Aviation, the parent organization of Indigo, since May of 2022. He will be taking over as the chairman of the board and CEO of Indigo. Moving on, in a major overhaul, the US tech giant IBM has reportedly laid off around 8,000 employees, most of them from the Human Resources Department, as it doubles down on artificial intelligence. The move is a part of IBM's wider strategy to automate back-office operations, replacing hundreds of traditional HR roles with AI agents capable of handling routine tasks like paperwork, employee queries, and data organization. IBM CEO Arvind Krishna confirmed the shift, saying that AI is being adopted very aggressively across the company to streamline workflows and cut costs. Yet, despite the major job cuts, Krishna noted that IBM's total workforce has actually grown, as resources saved from automation are being redirected into areas like software development, marketing and sales. The CEO stressed that the company isn't cutting jobs, it's modernizing. Roles that require creativity, strategic thinking and people management are being prioritized, with repetitive and process-heavy position at increasing risk of AI onslaught. At the same time, IBM is pushing its AI offering to clients. At its recent Think conference, the company launched a suite of new tools designed to help other business build and deploy AI agents across popular platforms like OpenAI, Microsoft and Amazon. Moving on, Japanese auto major Nissan is generating and gearing up to invest about 6,763 crore rupees in India over the next 2 years. This comes even as Nissan prepares to divest its entire stake in its India manufacturing plant to French partner Renault. Despite the stake sale, Nissan insists it's not exiting the Indian market. The first of these new launches is expected in the first quarter of 2025, followed by 2 more vehicles within the year. Nissan is eyeing domestic volumes of 100,000 units annually by financial year 27 and is also planning to double its exports to reach about a total of 200,000 units per year. Remember, India remains a key manufacturing base for Nissan, with a total capacity of 4.8 lakh units per annum at its Tamil Nadu facility. Following the restructuring, Renault Nissan Automotive India will become a wholly owned subsidiary of Renault. However, the plant will also serve as a contract manufacturing hub for Nissan's current and future models. Both automakers will continue their partnership at Renault Nissan Technology and Business Centre in India under the existing 51-49 shareholding pattern between the two, focusing on R&D and business services. And moving on, India is seeing a rise in COVID-19 cases amid detection of the two new subvariants, which is NB1.8.1 and LF7, which are currently under observation by global health authorities. The total number of active cases is just over 1,000 in India. Fresh cases are also surfacing in Noida, Arunachal Pradesh, Lucknow, Karnataka and Thane in Mumbai. Delhi government is also on alert amid rising COVID cases. Chief Minister Rekha Gupta will review the preparations in LNJP hospital this morning and has already done so. In fact, earlier on Tuesday, the Chief Minister had a meeting with officials of the Health Department at Raj Niwas along with Lieutenant Governor. Noida has reported about 20 active cases, including 11 women and 8 men so far. These are the people who have tested positive for COVID. Remember, there could be many more cases which have not been detected. All patients are experiencing only mild symptoms like common cold and are currently in home isolation. The District Health Department in Noida is conducting contact tracing and reviewing travel histories as well. In Arunachal Pradesh, a 34-year-old pregnant woman who arrived in Itanagar from Bengaluru on 13th of May tested positive via RT-PCR after earlier showing symptoms of mild cough and fever. Her 53-year-old mother also tested positive but remains asymptomatic. Thane in Maharashtra reported 12 new COVID cases, taking its active count to 72 as per officials. 9 patients are hospitalized while 46 are under home quarantine. Meanwhile, 2 individuals working at Banaras Hindu University's lab have now tested positive for COVID. The 2 had earlier travelled to other states, suggesting possibility of infection during their journey. Karnataka also reported 36 new infections, raising state's active tally to 100. The daily positivity rate stands at 9.44%. Doctors and health workers have been instructed to wear masks. Kerala remains worst affected with about 500 plus active cases, 3 deaths reported in the current wave. Health Minister Veena George said that although the severity is generally low, individuals with comorbidities may face complications. The state government has mandated COVID-19 testing across all districts and is closely monitoring the situation. And India's largest stock exchange, the Nationalized Stock Exchange, which is the NSE, appears to be inching closer to a long-awaited public listing. Market regulator SEBI's chairperson Tuhin Kanta Pandey said on Wednesday that NSE's IPO application is not something that cannot be sorted. Now, just last week, he had hinted that approval for the much-anticipated IPO was likely to come soon. While Pandey did not specify a timeline, he expressed confidence that all pending issues will be addressed shortly, noting that both SEBI and NSE are actively engaged in resolving the matters. Now, NSE had filed its draft red herring prospectus nearly 8 years ago in December of 2016, but its listing has faced regulatory hurdles. In the unlisted market, NSE shares have soared dramatically, climbing 53% in just 5 sessions to reach a price point of 2,300 rupees apiece. The surge has pushed the stock exchange's market cap to 5.7 lakh crore rupees. Remember, backed by strong fundamentals, NSE continues to dominate India's capital markets. It is the world's second largest stock exchange by number of trades and the top-ranked derivatives exchange globally, accounting for nearly 81.7% of contracts traded worldwide. As of 31st of March 2025, the NSE held a 93.6% market share in equity cash and nearly a total of 99.9% share in equity futures. Its financial year 25 financial highlight this performance with the revenues up 16% year on year to 17,141 crore rupees and net profit surging 47% to 12,188 crore rupees. That's the highlight for its performance in financial year 2025. And let's now take a quick check of the markets this morning. There have been a lot of queues, especially in the last couple of hours, including the Trump tariffs that have now been paused by a US federal court, as well as Elon Musk stepping down, that are expected to hit Indian markets and show some sort of impact on the US markets as well in the coming day. But as far as Indian markets is concerned, as expected, it's an upward rally with Nifty up 0.5% at over 24,874. Sensex also up 0.5% at 81,732 marks, so breaching the 81,700 mark there. Mid caps and small cap broader markets are also up 0.5% each. Mid cap up 0.4% at 57,371, while small cap up just about 0.54%, which is 17,879 mark. That's as far as small cap is concerned. India VIX, the volatility index, is down 4.78% at 17.16. So the markets there have been range bound. Remember, in the last week of the trading session, also showing a positive trajectory as of this morning on the back of good news and good global cues as well as domestic cues. Let's take a look at the heat map on your screens right now. The banking and financial pack showing some sort of positive sentiment here. HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank all up in green. HDFC Bank up 0.38%, ICICI marginally up there, Kotak Bank up 0.22%, SBI Bank also up about 0.12%. That's the banking and financial pack. The IT pack is also showing green shoots with TCS, Infi, HCL Tech, Wipro all up on your screens right now. Infi, the Infosys is up more than 1%, in fact more than 1.5% at 1.78%, while TCS is up 0.38%. HCL Tech is also up nearly 0.71%. Let's also take a look at the energy market. Energy markets are also showing green signs there on your screens right now. Consumer durables are in negative. Communications is also in negative. Energy and minerals is also slightly positive as of this morning. Joining me right now is Kranti Bhatini. He is a strategist at Wealth Mill Security. Kranti, thank you very much. It's been a long time since I last spoke to you. What a good day to be talking as of this morning. A lot of positive global cues, as I mentioned, and something that is expected to really bump up the markets and the sentiments is the fact that US courts have now finally ruled that President Donald Trump really overstepped his reach when he brought about that tariff war on the world with unilateral tariffs that he imposed on many countries. A US federal court now ruling that those tariffs must be paused.
Shweta, good morning to you. Yes, it is just a slap on the face of the president by the federal court. The decisions regarding to the trade cannot be unilateral. That's what the verdict says. So we need to see how the presidential administration is going to act in the next coming days, how they are going to handle these kind of situations. It is unexpected completely for them also, but that's the fact. This is the decision of the court. So how things are going to evolve in the next, because a lot of big agenda is revolving around these trade tariffs. There were negotiations are going on. On one hand, many countries are trying to do the deals with them. So the entire issue got jeopardized, the market, when this is the time when things are settling down. One hand, this news is definitely a surprise to the administration at this point of time. Yeah, markets definitely cheered the court's verdict. We need to see how the next coming days or hours, the things are going to evolve. We need to see.
Absolutely.
By and large, markets are welcoming the move.
Absolutely. Markets are welcoming the move. And as I said earlier, Kranti, it's been a tug of war in the markets over the last 1 week with bears and bulls pushing each other. There have been favorable domestic cues, especially by the way of a good monsoon and strong macro data coming in. But as far as global cues is concerned, they've been mixed so far. With this decision by the US court, do you see markets in the long run, in the short run, in positive territory? What are you expecting?
Absolutely, Shweta. We need to balance the things in two ways. One is the domestic macros. Domestic macros, as you mentioned, they are looking very favorable. We had a decent earnings season. There were absolutely no negative surprises. We had a decent earnings season. Even companies in the mid and small cap space also, they demonstrated the strong earning track record. Wherever the froth is there, market knows how to make them to consolidate and punish those kind of froth in the market. That's a part and parcel of the market movements. Coming to the real scare that always hammering the market was the global cues and also the US policy making decisions that have been keeping the extra pressure on the market in the medium to short term. Now, if the things are settling down there, because Shweta, what we need to take into consideration and strict cognizance is the changing narratives in the global space. The narratives has been changing very fast and rapidly in the US market in the past 4 or 5 months. There was a narrative that US is going to show its strength, and also the US super boom is concerned. The narrative was going over there in the month of Jan. And from there, all of a sudden, by the month of April, there is a narrative that the US recession is back and it's going to hit all the markets. So the narrative has been changing very fast. And due to this court judgment, again, there would be a complete change in the stance at this point of time. So one need to have a hawkish kind of view on the changing global narratives.
Hawkish view on the changing global narratives. And you mentioned, that there was also a wait and watch approach that markets were really waiting for the Fed commentary. And the Fed commentary has also indicated a wait and see approach as far as rate cycle is concerned. How is that likely to impact the Indian markets as of today? Because yesterday, on the back of that positive news, markets really, at least the US markets really did not show any jubilance in the short run. What do you see the impact of Fed's wait and watch approach on Indian markets?
Shweta, by and large, Indian markets have a consensus view that we are because of the cooling of inflation, and we had a decent early monsoon signs. That's what the Met Department is mentioning. So we have a early monsoon, which is positive for the Indian economy by and large. So there is a consensus view, despite of US Federal Reserve status quo or whatever the decisions they can take. We can expect the rate cut cycle in India, which is positive for the Indian economy. Coming to the US Federal Reserve functioning is concerned, I feel sorry for Jerome Powell. Okay, he's facing the music from top to bottom. One hand, you have to go with the facts and figures, how the narrative of the economy. The other hand, President Trump and the administration giving pressure to him to reduce the interest rates. So he is also in a watch and mode position at this point of time. But Indian markets are somewhere delinking from the Federal Reserve decisions at this point of time. And the previous Reserve Bank governor made it that point, Shaktikanta Das, many times. We are an independent central bank. We are not bind with the complete decisions of Federal Reserve. That's what he made categorically a couple of times. So going with that narrative at this point of time, given the kind of favorable environment what we are witnessing in India, still we have a very tight monetary policy in terms of the monetary policy making is concerned. So in India, the rate cut cycle can be continued in the coming monetary policies also. That's where the buying interest is coming back in banking and NBFCs.
I want to specifically, talk about large cap stocks because they have continued to underperform, Kranti, as of last week, and they've been weighed down by subdued, foreign investor participation and also lackluster earning as far as global blue chips is concerned. Is that something that worries you going forward, likely to be a trend?
Shweta, you made the right point. Okay, by and large, on a quarter-on-quarter basis is concerned, the large cap revenue growth has been going at a very slower pace, whereas the profitability has been indicating in a positive way, but there is an overhang on the revenues. If the next 1 year, if we could able to sustain that revenue matrix going ahead in the next 4 quarters, we can see some kind of a potential upside with respect to the large cap stocks are concerned. So the banking stocks started participating in this rally, and there is an overhang on the oil and gas, and also the big boy Reliance Industries yet to deliver its numbers in terms of the revenue growth and the profitability is concerned. That's where the overhang that's keeping the pressure on the large cap universe is concerned. That is the reason whenever Nifty tried to break the range of 25,600, that range, again the valuation concerns also comes into get highlighted by the foreign portfolio investors at this point of time. By and large, I don't say Indian markets are in a frothish kind of zone, but by and large, we are in a fair value kind of zone at this given point of time. But given the kind of a longer term outlook is concerned, definitely investors, the foreign portfolio investors, the long only funds who are coming with a time horizon of 3 to 5 years, definitely Indian markets are offering, the large cap stocks are offering a decent value for them when they compared with the other emerging market peers.
All right, and let's also take a quick look at how the IT pack is doing. I think one of the best performing as of this morning, with TCS up, as I mentioned earlier, 0.6%, Infosys up 1.5%, HCL up 0.68%, Wipro 0.76%. So all the companies with major markets in the US are exemplary, showing exemplary signs and doing really well as of this morning. So obviously, Kranti, on the back of the fact that if the US court's judgment stays and if Donald Trump continues to be, put on strongholds, and his decision to rake up the tariff war once again continue to be abated, it's likely to have a good impact on the US markets going forward, especially the IT pact, which is showing resilience here in India. Kranti, thank you very much for taking time out, for joining us as of this morning. We hope to have you back very soon on the show. But moving on, let's take a quick look at global headlines we're tracking at this hour. Tech billionaire Elon Musk quits Donald Trump's administration after publicly criticizing the US president's sweeping new tax cuts and spending bill. US President Donald Trump says he's not fully satisfied with parts of his landmark tax bill and vows to continue negotiations amid growing backlash. A US federal court has struck down Donald Trump's sweeping Liberation Day tariffs, ruling the move unconstitutional and beyond presidential authority. US President Donald Trump lashed out at Russian President Vladimir Putin yet again, accusing the Russian leader of resisting ceasefire talks while escalating attacks on Ukraine. Donald Trump demands Harvard to cap foreign student administration admissions at 15%, submitted lists of international students enrolled at the university. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio announces aggressive visa revocations targeting Chinese students tied to the Communist Party, studying in sensitive tech subjects as well. US stocks market slide as investors react to Federal Reserve's minutes and await key earnings from AI leader Nvidia. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz unveils a joint missile development deal with Ukraine, removing range limits to enable strikes beyond Kyiv's borders. Russia proposes direct talks with Ukraine in Istanbul on 2nd of June, aiming for a sustainable settlement to the ongoing conflict. All that and more after this very short break.
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News9's pick of the week. Don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News9's page 3 is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You are watching Morning Brief at 9. Billionaire Elon Musk has resigned from his advisory role in the US government's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, in a rare public split from President Donald Trump. In a post on his social media platform X, Musk thanked Trump for the opportunity to help run DOGE, the cost-cutting task force of the US administration. Musk was designated as the special government employee, allowing him to work a federal job for 130 days each year. Musk's exit comes after he criticized Donald Trump's big beautiful budget bill, the legislative counterpiece of Trump's agenda. Musk warned that the bill would dramatically increase the federal deficit and reverse all the work done by DOGE so far, which has already led to tens of thousands of job cuts. Trump's tax bill cuts, and the bill promises sweeping tax relief and spending cuts. The measure passed in the House last week and is now headed to the Senate. And the US President Donald Trump weighed in on growing criticism of his sweeping new tax bill, saying he is not fully satisfied with certain provisions and will continue negotiating changes. Trump's remarks come after billionaire Elon Musk resigned from his federal advisory role and warned that the bill undermines all efforts to cut US deficit. Here's what the president had to say.
We will be negotiating that bill, and I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. That's the way they go. It's very big. It's the big, beautiful bill, but the beautiful is because of all of the things we have. The biggest thing being, I would say, the level of tax cutting that we're going to be doing. We're going to make people really be able to, we'll have the lowest tax rate we've ever had in the history of our country, and tremendous amounts of benefit are going to the middle income people of our country, low and middle income people of our country. So we're going to see what happens, because the Senate, as you know, is negotiating with us, and they have to then go back to the House.
And in a major blow to US President Donald Trump's trade agenda, a federal court has now blocked most of his tariffs from taking effect. A three-judge court in the Court of International Trade in Manhattan ruled on Wednesday that Trump overstepped his authority by invoking emergency powers to justify broad levies on foreign goods. The court's ruling invalidates Trump's 2nd April executive orders, which introduced a 10% baseline tariff on most imports and steeper duties on countries with large trade surpluses with the US, including China and the EU. The panel found that Trump's use of International Emergency Economic Powers Act to justify the levies violated the US Constitution. The ruling, likely to be challenged, effectively rolls back key parts of Trump's international tariff strategy and could mark a turning point in his effort to reshape America's trade policy. Meanwhile, the White House hit back, accusing the unelected judges of undermining presidential powers. And Donald Trump once again lashed out at Russian President Vladimir Putin, expressing frustration over Moscow's refusal to commit to a ceasefire on its conversations with Ukraine. Now, this comes just a day after Trump warned that Putin was playing with fire by continuing drone and missile strikes while peace efforts remain stalled. Here's a report.
At this point, we're working on President Putin.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday said Russian President Vladimir Putin may be intentionally delaying negotiations on a ceasefire in the war in Ukraine, and expressed disappointment at Russian bombing.
We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently. I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now, where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that.
When asked by a reporter what was stopping him from imposing new sanctions on Russia, Trump said he didn't want to scuttle a potential peace deal.
If I think I'm close to getting a deal, I don't want to screw it up by doing that.
Trump's remarks in the Oval Office came as the United States and Russia quarreled in public over the intensifying Ukraine war. Trump warned in a social media post that Putin was, quote, playing with fire. Afterward, Putin's foreign policy aide told a state TV reporter that Trump's remark suggested that he is not well informed on the realities of the war. Meanwhile, the war intensified. Russia said it had downed nearly 300 Ukrainian drones overnight, while Ukraine said Russia had launched almost 90 drones and 5 ballistic missiles. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia also gathered 50,000 troops near the northern Sumy region. Zelensky was in Berlin on Wednesday meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who pledged to support Ukraine in producing long-range missiles to bolster its defenses. In a joint press conference, Zelensky said Russia was persistently searching for reasons to delay talks to end the war.
They do not want to hold talks in neutral Geneva, but they want to have them in a NATO member state, which is Turkey. You see, it is not about which country will host talks and which alliance it belongs to. It is all about Putin and their desire to postpone. They are constantly looking for reasons to postpone a format which can bring an end to the war.
After speaking to Trump on May 19th, Putin said he had agreed to work with Ukraine on a memorandum which would set out the framework of a peace deal. On Wednesday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that Russia proposed holding the next round of direct talks with Ukraine in Istanbul on June 2nd, with the aim of achieving a sustainable peace settlement. Ukraine responded, urging Russia to share its memorandum on peace without delay, so that a meeting in Istanbul, quote, won't be empty and can truly move us closer to ending the war.
And moving on, amid an ongoing feud with domestic academic institution, US President Donald Trump has called for a cap on foreign students' admissions at Harvard University, suggesting that America's oldest university must limit international enrollment to just 15%. Trump also demanded that Harvard provide his administration with a current list of all non-US students enrolled at the Ivy League institution. Take a look.
Harvard has to show us their lists. They have foreign students. About 31% of their students are foreign-based, almost 31%. We want to know where those students come. Are they troublemakers? What countries do they come? Number one, I think they should have a cap of maybe around 15%, not 31%. We have people who want to go to Harvard and other schools. They can't get in because we have foreign students there. But I want to make sure that the foreign students are people that can love our country. Harvard's got to behave themselves. Harvard is treating our country with great disrespect, and all they're doing is getting in deeper and deeper and deeper.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced a sweeping new crackdown on Chinese students' visas, revealing plans to aggressively revoke visas of students who are linked to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in sensitive academic fields. The move could impact hundreds of thousands of Chinese nationals currently enrolled in the U.S. universities and could disrupt both higher education funding and tech industry hiring pipelines. The State Department says that future visa applications from China and Hong Kong will also face stricter scrutiny as a part of Trump's administration's broader immigration agenda. And in a major defense shift, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz announced a joint program with Ukraine to develop a long-range missile without range limitations. Speaking alongside Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Berlin, Merz said that the project would give Ukraine the ability to defend itself fully, including striking military targets beyond its borders. This follows Merz's endorsement of Ukraine's right to target Russian territory, a notable departure from former Chancellor Olaf Scholz's more cautious stance. And in a devastating act of nature, a massive section of glacier broke off on Wednesday, unleashing a torrent of ice, mud and rock that buried much of the Swiss village of Blatten. Rescue operations are ongoing as authorities assess the full extent of the damage. Take a look at those visuals. And that's all we have on the show. News and updates will continue on the other side. You are watching Morning Brief at 9.
Is this politics of appeasement?
That is the ground reality.
The violence continued unabated for the next 24 hours. Why is there Mamta for Pahalgam but not for Murshidabad?